My girlfriend messaged, "Going to bed early, exhausted from work." I replied, "I know. I just saw you leave the hotel." 5 missed calls. 1 voicemail. "Please let me explain." Before we continue, we ask you to hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We would like to get to know our audience better. I stared at the Harbor Inn sign through the rain-streaked windshield, watching the red neon blur and refocus. My hands were steady on the wheel. That surprised me. I'd expected anger, maybe tears. Definitely something more dramatic than this cold stillness settling in my chest like frozen concrete. Avery had left 17 minutes ago. I'd watched her walk out with him. Chris Vaughn, the cruise ship captain she'd mentioned exactly twice in 3 years. Once at a company Christmas party. Once when she said her boss wanted to explore partnership opportunities with maritime logistics. Partnership. Right. I switched my phone to airplane mode. Seemed fair for our relationship, too. The drive home took 12 minutes. I didn't speed, didn't blast angry music, just drove like I was heading to work on a Tuesday morning, windshield wipers keeping rhythm with some pop song I couldn't name. Our apartment looked the same, her shoes by the door, the expensive ones she'd bought last month saying they were investment pieces. The kitchen smelled like the vanilla candle she always lit before leaving, her little ritual to make the place feel lived in when she wasn't around. I made coffee, opened my laptop, started a new folder labeled Tax Documents 2024. Then I got to work. See, I'm a systems administrator, not glamorous. I don't hack databases or break into Pentagon servers. I manage boring things, user permissions, backup schedules, server maintenance logs. But that job taught me something useful. Documentation matters, evidence matters, and everything leaves a trail if you know where to look. I started with our joint checking account. Avery had always handled the fun money, as she called it. Dinners out, weekend trips, little luxuries. I'd never questioned it. Why would I? Now I questioned everything. The Harbor Inn, 4 separate charges over 3 months. Always on Thursday nights. Always when Avery texted about working late on cruise campaign materials. Waterfront Bistro, 6 charges. Same pattern. Harbor Spirits, Wine Bar, 3 more. I opened a spreadsheet. Logged every transaction. Cross-referenced with Chris Vaughn's public cruise schedule. Available right on the company website. Complete with port dates and voyage departures. Perfect correlation. When Chris was in port, Avery worked late. When he sailed, she came home on time, sometimes early, cheerful, and attentive. The pattern was so clean it was almost insulting. My phone buzzed. I turned off airplane mode without thinking. 16 messages from Avery. I read them in order. "Ryan, please. I know how this looks. It's not what you think. Can we just talk? Please don't do this. You're being childish." And there it was. The shift from panic to anger. Message 7 through 16 escalated from pleading to accusation. By the end, I was paranoid, controlling, and unable to trust. Classic. I didn't respond, just kept working. By 3 in the morning, I had everything organized. 47 pieces of evidence, all perfectly legal. Bank statements, receipts, timestamps, public schedules. Nothing hacked, nothing stolen. Just the digital paper trail of a relationship I'd apparently been living alone. I opened a new document and started drafting an email. Not to Avery, to myself, a timeline, a plan. Because here's what I'd learned from years of fixing broken systems. And you don't attack the problem emotionally. You isolate the variables. You identify the failure points. You design a solution that's clean, surgical, and irreversible. Avery thought she was careful. She probably felt smart, even, sneaking around while I worked my predictable schedule, trusting her completely. But she'd forgotten something important. I built my entire career on spotting patterns nobody else noticed. And I just spotted hers. At dawn, I made another pot of coffee, transferred my personal savings, $23,000, to a new account at a different bank, changed my direct deposit, canceled the auto-pays I'd set up for her car insurance and gym membership. When Avery came home at 8, I was showering. She knocked on the bathroom door. "Ryan, can we please talk?" "Not now," I said. "Running late for work." "You can't just ignore me." I turned off the water, wrapped a towel around my waist, opened the door, and walked past her without making eye contact. "I'm not ignoring you," I said. "I'm thinking." Her reflection in the bedroom mirror showed confusion, then calculation. She'd expected shouting, accusations, drama she could deflect and reshape. My silence was throwing her off. Good. I got dressed, made toast, poured coffee into my travel mug. "I'll be home around 6, I said, heading for the door. "That's it?" That's all you're going to say? I paused, turned, looked at her directly for the first time. What would you like me to say, Avery? She faltered. I want to explain. Do you? Yes. Okay, I checked my watch. Tonight, 6:30. We'll talk then. I left before she could respond. At work, I scheduled a consultation with a family law attorney, found one who offered free 30-minute initial meetings, booked it for lunch. The attorney's name was Patricia Chen, mid-50s, professional, direct. How long have you been married? She asked. Not married. Together 3 years, living together for 2. That simplifies things. Washington is a community property state for marriages, but you're not there yet. Any shared assets besides the checking account? The apartment lease is in both names, month to month. Everything else is separate. Kids? No. Good. She made notes. And you have documentation of infidelity? I slid a USB drive across her desk. Timestamps, receipts, cross-referenced schedules, all legally obtained. She plugged it in, scanned through my spreadsheet, raised an eyebrow. You're thorough. I try. This is more than enough if you needed it, but since you're not married, you don't really need grounds for anything. You can just leave. I know. So what exactly are you here for? I leaned back. I want to know the line, legally. What I can do without crossing into harassment, stalking, or defamation. Patricia studied me. You planning something? I'm planning to be smart. Smart is good. Smart keeps you out of my office later, paying me actual money instead of getting a free consultation. She closed the file. Here's the line. You can share truthful information about your own life with anyone you choose. You can't hack her devices, install spyware, or make false accusations. You can document what you personally witness. You can't trespass or destroy property. What about her workplace? If you have evidence of misconduct relevant to her employment, misuse of company resources, that sort of thing, you can report it to her employer. But it has to be factual, and you have to be careful about motivation. If it's purely vengeful, it could come back on you. I nodded. Understood. One more thing. She looked at me seriously. Whatever you're planning, ask yourself if it's worth it. Revenge fantasies feel good in the moment, but they have consequences. Sometimes the best revenge is just walking away and building something better. I appreciate the advice, but you're not taking it. I'm taking it under consideration. She smiled slightly. Good luck, Ryan. That afternoon, I composed an email, sent it from a new anonymous account to the HR department at Avery's company, Maritime Horizon Cruises. Subject, expense report concerns, to whom it may concern. I have reason to believe expense reports submitted by marketing department staff may contain irregularities related to business travel accommodations, specifically charges for local hotels on dates when no out-of-town travel was scheduled. I recommend reviewing recent reports from Avery Pierce, marketing executive, particularly charges at Harbor Inn and related establishments from July through September. I have no personal stake in this matter, but believe the company would want to ensure proper use of corporate resources. A concerned observer. I attached a single PDF, the Harbor Inn charges from our joint account, with Chris Vaughn's port schedule alongside it. Just enough to raise questions. Then I hit send. At 6:30, I walked through our apartment door. Avery was waiting on the couch, legs curled under her, looking smaller than usual. I'm sorry, she said immediately. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I set down my bag, took off my jacket, went to the kitchen and poured water. How long? I asked. 3 months. Since June. Yes. Does he know about me? She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. He knows I have a boyfriend. It wasn't supposed to be serious. But it got serious. No, I don't know. It's complicated. I laughed. Actually laughed. It's really not, Avery. You're sleeping with someone else. That's simple. That's about as uncomplicated as it gets. You don't understand. The demands of your job, the stress, how he makes you feel. Save it. I drank the water, set down the glass. I'm not interested in the justifications. Then what do you want? I want you to move out. Her eyes went wide. Ryan, the lease is month to month. I'll handle it. You can take your stuff anytime this week. I'll stay at a hotel if you need space to pack. You're just ending it? Just like that? You ended it 3 months ago. I'm just making it official. She stood up, angry now. This is why we had problems. You're cold. You shut down. You never fight for anything. You're right, I said. I don't fight. I solve problems, and you've become a problem. So that's it? 3 years and I'm just a problem to solve? Seems fair. I was just an alibi to maintain. She grabbed her purse. Her keys. Fine, I'll stay with a friend tonight. Good idea. At the door, she turned back. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said, but I doubt it. She left. The door clicked shut. I stood in the silent apartment for a long moment. Then I opened my laptop and checked my email. No response yet from Maritime Horizon's HR department. But it was only 6:47. These things took time. I pulled up Chris Vaughn's schedule again. His next voyage departed in 4 days. But before that, he had something interesting scheduled. A Port Authority gala. Public event. Industry networking. Maritime Horizon Cruises was listed as a primary sponsor. I opened the event website. Registration was still open. $50 for general admission. I registered. Paid with my new separate credit card. Then I texted Liam Brooks, old acquaintance from college who'd ended up working as a dispatch coordinator at the port. We'd grabbed beers a few times last year when he'd moved back to town. Hey man, random question. You working the Maritime Gala on Friday? Response came 5 minutes later. Yeah, coordinating vendor access. Why? Might stop by. Working on some logistics stuff for my company. Okay if I hit you up there? Sure thing. I'll be around the main pavilion most of the night. Perfect. I made dinner, ate it, watched an episode of some show I didn't care about. Went to bed. For once, I actually slept. Thursday morning, Avery showed up with boxes and her sister. I was getting ready for work. I'll be out of your way in an hour, she said. Wouldn't look at me. Take your time. I left them packing, went to work. Tried to focus on a server migration project, but kept checking my phone. At 10:15, the email came. From Maritime Horizon HR. Mr. Cole, thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. We take expense report accuracy seriously and are reviewing the situation. If you have additional information, please contact Joan Miller, HR Director, at the number below. Best regards, Maritime Horizon Human Resources. I didn't call. Didn't need to. I'd given them enough. At lunch, I drove past our apartment. Avery's car was gone. I went inside. Her clothes were cleared out. Bathroom products gone. The vanilla candle remained, half burned. I threw it away. My phone buzzed. Avery. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. Another message. HR called me in. Asked about expense reports. That was you, wasn't it? Still nothing from me. You're pathetic. You know that? You couldn't handle being dumped, so you tried to get me fired. I typed one response. I didn't try. I just provided facts. What they do with facts is their choice. Then I blocked her number. Friday arrived. The gala started at 7. I left work at 5, went home, changed into the one decent suit I owned, charcoal gray, bought for a cousin's wedding 2 years ago, looked at myself in the mirror, barely recognized the person staring back. 3 weeks ago I'd been a guy who watched Netflix and ate Chinese takeout. Now I was... What? A detective? An Avenger? No. Just someone who was done being passive. The Maritime Gala was at Pier 7, a renovated warehouse space with exposed brick and harbor views, string lights, open bar, 200 people in business casual, all pretending to care about emerging trends in cruise logistics. I spotted Chris Vaughn immediately. Hard to miss, 6'2", expensive suit, talking loud enough to be heard across the room. Avery stood beside him, wearing a black dress I'd never seen before. She looked good. That bothered me more than it should. I checked in at registration, got my name tag, grabbed a beer from the bar, positioned myself near the sponsor display tables where I could watch without being obvious. Liam found me first. Ryan, didn't expect you to actually show. We shook hands. What brings you? Networking. Trying to understand the maritime side of logistics better. Right. He grinned. This is the most boring place to do that. Come on, I'll introduce you around. Actually, I'm good. Just observing tonight. He studied me. You okay, man? You seem... I'm fine. Just in work mode. All right. Well, I'm around if you need anything. Coordinating the parking lot security later, but I'm free till 9. Parking lot security? Yeah, we've got the sprinkler system being tested tonight after the event, making sure no cars are in the maintenance zone. Super exciting stuff. Something clicked in my head. Sprinkler system? Fire suppression. The whole lot. City requires annual testing. We're doing it at 10 after guests leave. Got it. I sipped my beer. Hey, what time does that testing actually trigger? 10 sharp. Why? Just curious. Systems guy, always interested in how things work. He laughed. You're weird, Cole. But all right. Catch you later. I watched him leave. Then I watched Avery and Chris work the room together. The way she touched his arm, the way he leaned in close when she spoke. 3 months. She'd said 3 months. I wondered if that was true. Wondered if it mattered. At 8:30, I moved closer. Positioned myself near the appetizer table, within earshot. Avery saw me first. Went pale. Chris followed her gaze. Frowned. I raised my beer slightly. Small acknowledgement. Chris said something to Avery. She shook her head. He started walking toward me. Can I help you? His voice had that captain authority, used to being obeyed. Just enjoying the event, I said. Nice turnout. Do I know you? Ryan Cole? I don't think we've been formally introduced. I extended my hand. He didn't take it. You need to leave. I paid admission. I'm a guest. Avery appeared beside him. Ryan, what are you doing here? Networking. You said I should get out more. Expand my professional circle. This isn't funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I pulled out my phone, opened the photo gallery. Actually, I wanted to ask Chris something. Professional question. Put that away, Chris said. I showed him the screen. Picture of him and Avery leaving the Harbor Inn. Clear, unmistakable. How do you expense hotel rooms on nights you're supposedly supervising ship departures? Because I've got your schedule here too. I swiped. July 23rd, you departed at 6 a.m., but this receipt shows check-in at 11 p.m. the night before. Same hotel where Avery charged dinner. Chris's jaw tightened. I don't know what you think. I don't think anything. I know. Difference being, I've got documentation. I swiped again. More photos. Harbor Inn, 4 times. Waterfront Bistro, 6 times. All cross-referenced with your departure schedule and Avery's expense reports. People were starting to notice. Conversations nearby went quiet. You're harassing us, Avery said. Chris, call security. Go ahead, I said. I'm happy to share this with everyone here. Or we can step outside and talk like adults. Chris moved fast, grabbed my arm. Outside. Now. I didn't resist. Let him march me toward the exit. Avery followed, heels clicking on concrete. We made it to the parking lot. Cold air, sodium lights, empty space. Listen carefully, Chris said. I don't know who you think you are. Her boyfriend. Or I was, until I caught her leaving a hotel with you. That's not... July 23rd, August 6th, August 20th, September 3rd. Want me to continue? Avery stepped between us. Stop it, both of you. I'm done, I said. But Chris here should know something. Those expense reports you both filed, HR is reviewing them, and when they compare notes, they're going to find a pattern. Chris paled. You reported us? I reported irregularities. What HR finds is up to them. You son of a... He lunged. I stepped back. He was bigger, but I was faster, and I knew he wouldn't actually hit me. Too public, too risky for his pristine reputation. But I was done backing down. When he swung, I ducked. Then I did something I'd never done in my life. I slapped him. Open palm, sharp sound, across his face, not a punch, nothing that could be called assault, just humiliation. I like answers that leave fingerprints, I said. Chris stood frozen, hand to his face, shocked. Avery screamed, What is wrong with you? Exhausted from work, I said. Isn't that what you told me? Funny how exhausting it must be, sneaking around. I turned and walked back inside, heart pounding, hands shaking now that the adrenaline hit. Behind me, I heard Avery crying, Chris swearing. I didn't look back. Inside, I found Liam near the sponsor tables. Hey, I said, quick question about that sprinkler test tonight. Yeah? Can it be triggered manually? Like if there was a reason to test it early? He looked confused. I mean, technically yes. There's a control panel in the maintenance shed, but we're scheduled for 10. What if something changed? What if someone needed the lot cleared earlier? Ryan, what's going on? I pulled out my wallet, found 2 20s. This is weird, I know, but I need a favor. At 9:30, trigger that test. Tell people there was a scheduling mix-up. That's insane. People will still be leaving. Exactly. They'll move their cars. Big commotion, very memorable. He stared at me, then at the money. This is about that guy you were talking to. Maybe. And the girl. Definitely. Liam pocketed the cash. 9:30. But if I get fired, you're buying me beer for a year. Deal. I spent the next hour nursing one beer and watching. Chris and Avery came back inside, stayed on the opposite side of the room. She kept looking at me. He kept his hand on her lower back. Possessive. At 9:20, I went outside, positioned myself near the maintenance shed where I could see the parking lot entrance. At 9:30 exactly, the alarm sounded. Loud, industrial, impossible to ignore. Then the sprinklers activated. Not water, fire suppression foam. White, thick, coating everything. The parking lot turned into chaos, foam everywhere, people running, cars caught in the blast zone, including Chris's Mercedes, parked right in the center. I walked closer, calm, deliberate. Chris ran out, Avery behind him. My car! Jesus Christ, my car! The foam kept coming, covering the windshield, the hood, pooling around the tires. I approached, pulled a folder from inside my jacket, placed it on his foam-covered hood. What the hell is this? Chris grabbed it, opened it. Inside, printed copies of every receipt, every photo, every cross-reference schedule, and a sticky note on top. Exhausted, from Latin exhaurire to drained completely. You're both fluent in it. Avery saw the contents, started crying harder. Ryan, please. I don't want apologies, I said. I want you to know something. You thought I was the safe choice. The boring boyfriend who worked his predictable job and never questioned anything? You thought you were smarter. Chris threw the folder down. You're insane. No, I'm thorough. I looked at Avery. You wanted to explain? Don't bother. The world just did. Security was coming. Event staff, people with phones recording. I turned and walked away, through the crowd. Past Liam, who gave me the slightest nod. Out to my car, drove home, poured a drink, sat on the couch in the dark. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Joan Miller from Maritime Horizon HR. We'd like to speak with you Monday morning regarding the information you provided. Please call to schedule. I deleted it. Didn't need to be involved anymore. Another text. This one from Liam. Dude, that was either the stupidest or smartest thing I've ever seen. Beers on me whenever. I smiled. Typed back, I'll hold you to it. Saturday I slept until noon. First time in weeks. Sunday I cleaned the apartment, threw out everything that reminded me of Avery, rearranged furniture, made the space mine again. Monday I went to work. Focused, present, almost normal. At lunch, my personal email dinged. Message from an address I didn't recognize. A forwarded email chain. The original was from Chris Vaughn to Avery, dated 2 weeks ago. Can't wait for Friday. Book the usual room. Tell your boyfriend you're working late again. He seems like the type who'll buy anything you sell him. Below that, Avery's response. He is. He's so oblivious, it's almost sad. But Friday's risky. He might want to do something for the anniversary. Anniversary. Our 3-year anniversary had been that Friday, the night I'd caught them. The email forward came with a note. Thought you should see this. Found it during the HR investigation. She's been suspended. He's under review. J.M. Joan Miller, the HR director. I closed the email, didn't respond. What was there to say? Tuesday, Avery called from a different number. I answered without thinking. You destroyed my life, she said. No crying now, just cold anger. I provided facts to your employer, that's all. That's all? Ryan, I'm suspended without pay. Chris might lose his captaincy, all because you couldn't handle a breakup like an adult. You're right, I said. I should have just let you keep lying. Let you keep using company money to cheat on me. Much more adult. I made a mistake. You made 47 mistakes. I counted. What? 47 separate charges. 47 times you looked at me and lied. So no, Avery. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Repeatedly. Silence on the line. Then, I hope you're happy? I'm not, I admitted. But I'm not miserable either. That's something. I loved you. No. You loved what I let you get away with. There's a difference. I hung up. Wednesday, I got a call from Patricia Chen, the attorney. I heard about the gala, she said. Creative. I stayed within the lines. Barely. But yes, you did. How are you holding up? Fine. Better than expected. Good. Because I'm calling to tell you something. Avery contacted my office asking about legal options. Harassment, defamation. She thinks she has a case. My stomach dropped. Does she? No. Everything you did was legal. But she might try anyway. People get desperate. What should I do? Nothing. Don't contact her. Don't Don't respond to anything she sends. If she files something, we'll deal with it. But most likely, she's just angry and looking for leverage. Okay. Ryan? Off the record? Yeah? You did good. Not everyone would have kept their head like that. I thanked her and hung up. Thursday, I saw Chris Vaughn's name in the news. Small article in the business section. Maritime Horizon Cruises, captain suspended pending investigation into expense report irregularities. No mention of me, no mention of Avery specifically. Just dry corporate language about internal review processes. I printed the article, folded it, put it in my wallet. Not as a trophy, as a reminder. Friday night, I met Liam for those beers I'd promised. You're insane, he said again. Third time that night. But man, I respect it. I just wanted the truth out there. You did more than that. You made them look like idiots in front of everyone who matters in this industry. Chris is done. Even if he keeps his license, nobody's going to respect him. Good. And Avery? What about her? Word is she's looking for work in Seattle, trying to get away from the gossip. I sipped my beer, didn't say anything. You feel bad at all? Liam asked. I feel tired, I said. Exhausted, actually, but in a good way, like I finally put down something heavy. He clinked his bottle against mine. To being exhausted. To being done. We drank. Later, walking to my car, I checked my phone one last time. No messages, no emails, no drama, just silence. I drove home through streets I'd driven 1,000 times before. Past the Harbor Inn, its red neon sign glowing in the dark, past the restaurants and bars and places where Avery had built her double life. All of it looked smaller now, less significant. At home, I opened my laptop, closed the Tax Documents 2024 folder, archived it, backed it up, then I opened a blank document and started typing. Not about Avery, not about revenge, just notes, ideas, things I wanted to do that I'd put off for 3 years, learn guitar, take a trip somewhere I'd never been, maybe try dating again, eventually. Normal things, future things. My phone buzzed. Message from Mrs. Turner, my neighbor. Saw the news about that cruise company. That's the girl who used to visit you, isn't it? Hope you're doing okay, dear. I typed back, I'm good, Mrs. Turner. Thanks for checking. She responded immediately. Good. You deserve better than a girl who parks strange cars in visitor spots at midnight. I laughed. Actually laughed. Thanks. I think so too. I set down the phone, looked around the apartment. It felt bigger somehow, more open, like someone had removed furniture I hadn't realized was weighing down the space. I made tea, sat on the couch, turned on some music. Nothing specific, just something instrumental and calm. And for the first time in 3 months, I felt like myself again. Not the version who checked his girlfriend's text or memorized cruise schedules or built elaborate revenge plans in spreadsheets. Just me, Ryan Cole, systems administrator, boring job, quiet life, someone who'd learned that sometimes the best way to fix a broken system is to remove the corrupted files and start clean. Someone who'd learned that exhaustion doesn't always mean tired. Sometimes it means empty, drained completely, ready to refill with something better. I finished my tea, rinsed the cup, went to bed. Tomorrow I'd wake up and go to work, do my boring job, come home to my quiet apartment. And I'd be okay with that, because I'd won. Not in a dramatic, movie-ending way, but in the quiet way that actually matters. I'd taken back my life from people who thought they could use it as background scenery for their own story. I'd shown them that the boring guy in the background was paying attention all along. And when pushed, he pushed back. Carefully, legally, effectively. I'd exhausted them. And now, finally, I could rest.